All right, welcome everyone. This is Revenue Roadmap, where we talk about driving revenue and increasing profits in local businesses. I'm Anthony Karls. Today, Mr. James Patterson is back with us. He's still in his rowboat. He's still in his little bathtub rowboat today, which is good. No towel though, so that's good. So if you want to find the episode where James is in towel, you go for it. Go back, look for it. He's in there. He's a stud. So we're going to be talking more high level marketing today. Our goal is to simplify it a little bit for you. So, James, thanks for being here.
Of course.
All right. So, question before we start. I know you're a Packers fan, and I know you got a little. You used to have a little helmet that you try to like strategically place in the camera. What James didn't know is nobody could see it.
Yeah, that was a sad day.
I started to get to know James, and he's like, nobody's ever said anything about my Packer helmet, and I'm like, nobody can see that, bro. So,
sad.
But you live in a house with someone who's not a Packers fan, and is your arch enemy. So how is this possible? Tell us Tell us the secrets of healthy relationships, because I don't know if a Bear and a Packer can live in the same house.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, it wasn't easy at first, for sure. I would say for any other relationships when they're starting out, if people are coming from two opposing sides, like in my case, Packers fan, Lisa, my girlfriend, she's a Bears fan through and through. Born and raised in Illinois. It was definitely a long game play. So, when it first started out, she was very, loyal to the Bears, like her upbringing. And over time, I've slowly chipped away little by little. And, she still is a Bears fan today. So I won't take that away from her. However, if a Bears game is on and a Packer game is on, we have established the Packer game is the one that gets on the big TV. So if she wants to watch the Bears game, she's going to have to go to a different room and do her thing. And over time, how this is realized is that she ends up just watching the Packer game instead. So I'm sure, if her parents were listening,
or she doesn't really care about football.
Yeah.
One of the two things.
Yeah. Her brother's a huge Bears fan, and I think they are hugely offended that I've accomplished this with her. So it's, created friction in other areas, but managed at least the viewing pretty well at this point.
Nice. Well, congratulations on all that. All right. So today we are talking about something we talk about here at Rocket Clicks, which is all marketing is the same. And I know that can be scary. It's like, how is paid search and SEO the same? How is email and paid search the same? How are all these things the same? How is programmatic and paid search the same? And they're all the same. So what we like to say is marketing is a combination of three things in our 5 stages of awareness. So what are those 3 things, James? And then let's define each of these.
Yep. So the 3 things that are in everything you do as it pertains to marketing is your list, your offer, and your message. And regardless of what channel or tactic you're using, what we're going to talk about today is how every single one of them has those 3 things, no matter what.
Yeah. So let's just define those 3 things first. So what is a list?
Yep. So your list at a high level is the audience you're seeking to grab attention from, right? So a search campaign, right? You go, well, no, I'm targeting keywords. This isn't a list, right? Well, yes, you are targeting keywords, but what it truly is a list of people that have searched those keywords that you're targeting, right? So
who owns that list?
Yes, Google owns that one. that was a very sought after, expensive list, as we all know. And then if you move into other areas, social platforms, right? You might be doing a retargeting audience, maybe site visitors. That's a list, people that have gone to your website and been pulled by the pixel, or people maybe that have taken different interests or behaviors. Again, a list that Facebook has curated based off of signals and things like this. So no matter what you're using, regardless of what platform, even non-paid ventures as well, even organic, right? It's still a list of people that are searching for keywords relevant to your brand or service. It's still just a list that we're going after. So high level, the audience you're trying to seek attention from.
think it's why we try to simplify it is it helps you expand your idea of like what you can do. Because like if you just simplify it down in a list, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, there's lists of people everywhere.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, now I can do more things. It's not just a keyword. It takes keyword and makes it something else. It takes pixel and makes it something else. It makes it a little more simple, especially for a potentially business owner who's not super down in the weeds of the details of what we're doing technically from a digital marketing perspective. But everybody can get list message offer. Those aren't hard things. So what's the message? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yep. So your message is, again, you have your audience you're targeting, right? Essentially, your message is the vehicle in which you're using to capture said attention, right? So on a search ad, of course, it's your text creative that's on there. So it's usually going to be some combination of CTA, maybe some value prop or some brand language from a CTV commercial, where you can be a little bit more expansive since it's more time and space in the placement. So you can talk more about maybe what problems you solve, things like that. But essentially, what your message is just like what vehicle are you using to basically get in front of the audience that you want to target and speak to whatever you're trying to talk to that audience about, whether it be your brand, again, the service you provide, or the problems you solve, and things like that.
Yeah, and then you can go pretty deep into message because you can talk about colors and color contrasts and what type of imagery is in there. Is it Are you using sharp imagery? Is it softer? Like all of those things are communicating something. So that's the message. So what's an offer? Tell me.
Yep. Yeah. So your offer is the actual, business value that you provide your audience that you've now basically gotten in front of them through your message. So your offer can be all kinds of different things. Tony, obviously we had a great episode about kind of going into the details behind a scaled offer strategy. But it can be from anything from a basic resource download or a white paper, something like that, that's free, in which you're asking for obviously the user's contact information so you can maybe get them an email marketing or other campaigns and things like that. Or maybe something even further on, something intermediary, maybe an evaluation or something like that costs some money and provides value to your customers to ultimately maybe your biggest, most premium package that you might offer the audience that you're targeting.
Yeah. Cool. So what I think is really interesting here is when you break this stuff down more simply, it also shows you nothing's actually changed. If you've ever read there's a great white paper that you can download online called Scientific Advertising. Claude C. Hopkins wrote it, and he wrote it in, I believe, 1929. And what's in there is list message offer. And it's very interesting. The only thing that's changed is they were doing it in newspapers and some periodicals, and we could do it on a screen, a little different, but not very much because their list was people that read those periodicals or those newspapers, and ours is a little bit more targeted. So we have some more advanced tech, but it's still the same list message offer. So for all of you out there that are doing marketing and sometimes getting lost in all of the nonsense that sometimes marketing people will bring to you, because it's almost like their safe space. That would be my opinion. My opinion is they make it complicated because they're actually really nervous and they're afraid.
Insecure.
Insecure. There's some insecurity there. It's really just list message offer. Simplify it down. What's the list? Does it make sense? Does that list even make sense? What's the message? What's the offer? Just boil it down to those three things, and you'll have more interesting conversations with your team or through your marketing channels.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. Any final thoughts on this to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, I think you summarized it really great there at the end, Tony. If you're a small business owner and you're watching this podcast right now, like the message you take from this is as simple as it gets. Whatever you're doing, right, it all has different purposes, and you want to apply different goals, and you want to measure it differently, right, like across. And that's where all these complexities live. But in terms of like building a good strategy, it really just comes down to those three things. What's the list? What's our message? How are we going to deliver it? And what's our offer? What are we going to do to provide them value so that we get, what we're seeking from them, whether it be revenue or maybe their information, whatever the case may be. That's really at its base. That's everything that you do in marketing, whether digital or, like you said, even in the 1920s when it was billboards and newspapers as the primary vehicle to get people's attentions.
Awesome. Appreciate it, James. Look forward to our conversation next time.
Yes.